Case file number 91. Shinobu Sensui. Codename Black Angel. Classification Human. Age 26. Blood type A. Spirit ranking S class. Possible threat level to humanity extinction. Capable of wiping all life from the planet. Former occupation underworld detective. Current location unknown. There is no more entered in the case file. End case file. Hey guys, Sterling here, and as you heard from that opening case file today, we are diving into the world of YuYuHakusho, specifically Shinobu Sensui. Now, in my opinion, he's one of the best antagonists in YuYuHakusho, and arguably one of the most unique villains in Shonen. Shinobu's a character I've wanted to talk about for a long time now. About a year ago, we had an incredible discussion comparing Shinobu and Suguru Geto from JJ. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely do so. But in that video, we discussed his life and history, but we never got to dive into some of the more interesting things about Shinobu, such as his utter manipulation of Yusuke and the gang, holy energy, or how truly masterful his plan actually was, how multifaceted it truly was, and how he accomplished everything he set out to do, and then some. He even got that little cherry on top. He puts on a masterclass on how to manipulate. There are so many fun and interesting topics to discuss when it comes to Shinobu and the Chapter Black Saga, so I thought it'd be a blast if we did that today. So it's going to be a little bit galaxy-brained, but I just want to talk about the things that make Shinobu interesting. Like I said, talk about his plan and really talk about how he could have done anything he wanted to. Now, when Shinobu and his gang of psychically charged superhumans show up on the scene, they're absolutely terrifying. And now keep in mind, we had just come off the heels of the Dark Tournament, where Team Urameshi had scratched and clawed their way to a win. And before the introduction of Shinobu, Toguro was the pinnacle of power, and Yusuke had to break through his limits multiple times. He went through multiple training arcs and even an extreme loss 2 different times just to push through and beat Toguro. Like I said, Toguro was the pinnacle of power as far as we knew, and Yusuke defeated him. So Yusuke was the new pinnacle of power. The series does a really good job at driving home the fact that Yusuke didn't think he would ever encounter another challenge such as Toguro, but man, Yusuke was beyond wrong because Shinobu and his psychics would push Team Urameshi beyond what the Dark Tournament ever could. The Chapter Black Saga is as much a psychological thriller as it is a shonen manga. The psychics Shinobu carefully handpicks are extremely hacked and unique characters in their own right. For the sake of fun, and just real quick, and then we'll get back on track, but just imagine for a second that Shinobu and his team of psychics that he recruited to open the tunnel or help him open the tunnel participated in the Dark Tournament. Now, obviously, Shinobu, he could solo the tournament by himself, whether he used his sacred or holy, whatever you call it, sacred energy or not. He could totally take down any combatant in the Dark Tournament. But for fun, let's say he decides to let some of his teammates fight, being the psychics, and quite honestly, we wouldn't even see Shinobu in the Dark Tournament. He would send one of his personalities out like Kazuya, the closer, or Manero. Manero would probably be the one fighting. He's prideful, boastful, strategic. He was the one manipulating most of the psychics, and he's the one that we see on the forefront all the way until obviously Shinobu and Kazuya reveal themselves in the cave. But I imagine Shinobu would have one of those two personalities fight. Tell me in the comments below, who do you think he would send out to fight? Anyways, and he would have his team of psychics, and now a lot of you might be saying, like, Sterling, there's no way that these human psychics, like, yes, they're strong, but there's no way that they can compete against yokai. But I'm telling you that they can. These psychics are extremely potent. Just imagine someone like Seaman, unless you have a dimensional slicing ability, you're not not going to find a way out of his water creature. You're going to be stuck in there. It's a different dimension. So like I said, unless you can cut through dimensions or you have an ability to pass through dimensions, there's no way that you're going to even going to get past Seaman. Don't even get me started about someone like Game Master. Can you imagine any of the yokai in the entire tournament going toe-to-toe with someone like Game Master in one of his games? That would spell game over for whoever fought Game Master. And now Sniper. Someone like Sniper, if he was armed with the raw material, he would have no problem fending for himself. He had Yusuke on the ropes, and quite frankly, if it wasn't for Yusuke could have went down right then and there. All I'm saying is that the psychics that Shinobu recruited are terrifying and extremely strong. And let's take it one step further, because this is a what if channel, and this would be an incredible idea for a what if. But what if Shinobu was actually didn't turn rogue, and him and this exact team of psychics with training actually fought in the Dark Tournament? I mean, Shinobu may not know sacred energy in that timeline, but he'd still be extremely OP. But the main point is the psychics would be even more OP because they'd be training. Koenma would have them trained up. Shinobu would still be a spirit detective, and they would easily be up in the upper B class to upper A class in power. But anyways, I digress. That may have to be a what if for another day. Would you guys like to see a YuYuhakusho what if like that? Anyways, I want to know down in the comments below, how do you think Shinobu and his team of psychics would do in the Dark Tournament? I think it's a very fun thought experiment, and I want to hear what you guys have to think. Anyways, back into Shinobu and his master plan. Shinobu really did pick the best group of psychics that he could have picked, and I'm sure he probably stalked these people for a long time, and once their powers awakened, then obviously he sent in Minoru. I keep acting like Shinobu planned the whole thing, but each and every one of his personalities had a part in making this plan. But Minoru was the front man per se. That's what you could call him, and he was the one going around manipulating all these psychics. And honestly, you can't really blame the psychics for going along with Shinobu's plan, because first of all, he showed them the chapter black tapes, which is literally humanity at its worst. And if any of us were to see a tape like that, it would probably twist and turn the way we looked at the world as well. And a lot of the people that Shinobu recruited were young and impressionable. I mean, look at Game Master. He was just a young kid. He was literally trying to not have rules, get away from his parents, and not have to go to school. And Shinobu completely manipulated him. It wasn't until the end where he's like, yeah, Mr. Shinobu, like, did have me pick this game, and wait a minute, like, you guys are right. And he started panicking, and obviously that's how Kurama was able to end up beating him. But Shinobu did that on purpose. The way he saw it is he wanted to mess with Yusuke. He wanted to see if Yusuke would yet again take another life, and this time it was the life of an innocent child. It wasn't that douchebag doctor. Now, anyways, when I say you can't blame the psychics, I guess the doctor was pretty messed up, but even in the end, you kind of even feel for him, because like I said, he saw humanity at its worst, and he was manipulated. He was, just imagine, and one day you learn that demons are real, you learn that psychics are real, you see the chapter black tapes. Anyways, that would be enough to drive anyone over the edge. Very similar to the dude from JJK, I can't think of his name, but the lawyer. When we first see him, he's going around offing people as well in the calling games, and then later on he becomes part of the crew. But you could look at the doctor in that same light. Anyways, each and every one of the psychics were completely manipulated to do Shinobu's bidding. And especially Gourmet, he got the worst end of the deal, eating the Togoro head and then being taken over by the Elder Togoro. Man, talk about nightmare fuel. Now, something else I wanted to touch upon is when Shinobu's discussed today, I see a lot of people thinking that his only goal was to fight someone strong. Shinobu's not Goku. His plan was far more than that, and it's almost disrespectful to say that Shinobu only had one goal in mind when
forming this master plan. He had multiple goals in mind, and I find it very interesting that, just look at it this way. Shinobu could have easily destroyed Yusuke and Team Urameshi from the very get-go. He could have used sacred energy right then and there and wiped the floor with Team Urameshi, and that would have been the end of it. He could have even sent his psychics out strategically to fight certain members of Team Urameshi. Like I mentioned earlier, if you don't have a dimensional cutting ability, you can't get out of Seaman's territory. So just imagine Seaman fighting someone other than Kuwabara. Now, I know that Shinobu needed Kuwabara to cut the Hakai barrier or the Kakai barrier to let all the yokai out, but he could have done that regardless. He could have kidnapped Kuwabara's sister and held her in Seaman's territory until he split it open. There's many ways he could have went about manipulating Kuwabara to cut the barrier. But he didn't. He wanted to use the psychics in a certain way to not only manipulate them, but also push Team Urameshi. Like I said, he used the scumbag doctor to see if Yusuke would take a life, and he used Game Master to see if Yusuke would take not only a life, but an innocent child's life. Now, when I said that Shinobu could have sent his psychics out like strategic chess pieces, just imagine if Shinobu would have sent someone like Game Master to fight Hiei. Hiei's not going to be able to play any types of games. It would spell bad news for Hiei. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that Shinobu, if he wanted to do things the easy way and his only goal was to just destroy humanity, then he would have destroyed Yusuke and Team Urameshi right then and there. But like I said, he had so much more in mind than just one goal with this plan. Ultimately, I find it very interesting that Shinobu wanted to get into Demon World and ultimately pass on there. Now, no one knew that Shinobu was sick until the very end. And just real quick, guys, what disease do you think Shinobu actually died from? Was it some sort of degenerative cancer? I see some people even saying HIV AIDS or something like that. But tell me in the comments below, what disease do you think Shinobu actually died from? I find Shinobu's mental health and obviously his actual physical health combined with all of his other character aspects just make him that much more of an interesting character, but I digress. Now, for anyone that was wondering, the mental health disease that Shinobu suffers from is dissociative identity disorder, and it's a rare psychotic disorder that can affect you at any age in your life. Now, obviously, we know that it affected Shinobu probably in between his teenage stage and obviously 26. We don't know exactly when he made each one of his personalities, but we know that he crafted each personality to deal with the problem that the real Shinobu couldn't mentally deal with. He couldn't deal with the strain of killing, so he created someone. He couldn't deal with the strain of manipulating these psychics, so he created a personality. But he did want to go through with opening the tunnel to Demon World to get to Demon World and ultimately pass away. But he created each one of these personalities to help further his plan. And I find it extremely interesting. One of my favorite scenes is when Kurama comes to a realization that, like, he wasn't talking about him and the 6 other psychics will end up opening the tunnel and accomplishing their goals. He was talking about his 6 personalities, and Kurama's absolutely shocked. Anyways, that's one of my favorite scenes. Another one of my favorite scenes is when Shinobu actually reveals himself finally, and he's like, wow, I haven't been out for a long time. And he's so polite, and his etiquette is just top notch, and he goes to shake Yusuke's hand. Now, obviously, Yusuke isn't having any part in that, and the way that Shinobu's drawn or the way that he's portrayed in the anime, he has such a calm and surreal look on his face. Like, he's got not a single care in the world. Like, he hasn't killed anyone. It was his other personalities, and he truly believes that he is guilt-free. A part of the reason why he created these personalities is so he wouldn't have to carry that guilt. But when he's when Shinobu actually reveals himself is by far one of my favorite scenes, because right after that, he starts going insane and releases his sacred energy. And that's probably one of my all-time favorite scenes in Yu Yu Hakusho, solely because of Hiei and Kurama's reaction. They know just how insane sacred energy truly is. I mean, Hiei's sweating. He hardly even knows what to say. He's sitting there shaking, and he's like, I hate being underestimated, but man, I hate underestimating my opponent even more. Like, Shinobu could have, that's when they come to the realization that Shinobu could have killed them at any time, could have swatted them away like flies. That's how much stronger he was than them at that time, and how much stronger he was than Yusuke. Yusuke is absolutely nothing to him. He's been treating Yusuke more or less like a doll or a play toy up until then, and obviously after that he would have his way with Yusuke, but he'd just been toying with him up until then, and it's one of the most absolutely incredible revelations in Yu Yu Hakusho, and one of my favorite scenes. Tell me in the comments below, guys, what do you think of that scene? Is it one of your favorites? It's definitely one of mine. Sacred energy is so incredibly fascinating because it's the Yu Yu Hakusho equivalent of enlightenment. So someone like Buddha would have definitely had holy energy or sacred energy. Now, whether or not he could use it like Shinobu, probably not, but that's what sacred energy is in the Yu Yu Hakusho universe. It's enlightenment. So you can't just train your spiritual energy and obtain holy energy. You can't train your yokai energy and obtain holy energy. It's achieved in a special way, and I really like that because it makes Shinobu unique, and quite honestly, he wouldn't have been nearly as strong as he was if it wasn't for his 7 personalities. That's one of the coolest things that I find about Shinobu is he used his personalities almost like Naruto uses the shadow clones, and he trained 7 times the amount that he would have in 10 years, because Koenma's completely blown away, and he's like, we know you were strong and like talented and an absolute genius, but how would you even have had the time to learn sacred energy or to achieve holy energy? You're only 26, and it takes even seasoned masters, someone like Genkai, who couldn't even reach holy energy. It would take someone like her 50 years to even attempt it. How did you do it? And obviously Shinobu gives us the revelation that all 7 of his personalities put in work to achieve holy energy. Or I guess it's Itsuki, but we get the revelation that that's how Shinobu did it. And wow, Togashi was really in his bag when writing Shinobu and how strong he would be and how he would achieve that strength, because sacred energy is absolutely incredible, and it really helps tie in Shinobu's whole fallen angel motif, hence his nickname, the Dark Angel. It's because he fell from grace. He was once a spirit detective, and now what he's become now is one of the most maniacal, manipulative monsters that the world of the living has ever seen. Shinobu truly is a tortured soul, and like I mentioned, it's part of the reason why he was able to achieve the type of power that he did. He explains in the anime that you have to have some sort of purpose to achieve divine energy or holy energy. You have to want you have to want to achieve what you're wanting to achieve so badly that you'd almost do anything for it. You have to have just something extremely monumental that you're chasing in your life. It's the reason why Genkai wasn't able to achieve holy energy, because she really just didn't give a shit about much. I mean, yes, she cared about humanity and whatnot, but she didn't have some like divine purpose in mind, or at least something that she didn't consider divine. And that's why Shinobu was ultimately able, one of the reasons why Shinobu was ultimately able to achieve that insane level of power that most people in Yu Yu Hakusho could never dream of having. Only the S-class demons in Demon World could compare to someone like Shinobu. I mean, it takes a full-powered, Ryzen-possessed Yusuke to take down Shinobu in the very end. Now, Shinobu was loving every bit of that fight. He had when he was doing all this manipulating and whatnot, he had no clue that Yusuke had demon blood. He just was manipulating Yusuke as Earth's spirit detective, and he wanted to try to desecrate Yusuke as far as like his morals. He wanted to completely break Yusuke down, but he had no clue that Yusuke had demon blood. So when Shinobu sees Yusuke and Pyu riding into Demon World, and Yusuke's got this extremely overwhelming yokai aura, he's even more pleased because it's just one more, like I mentioned earlier, the cherry on top to his plan. It was just the last thing Shinobu would have ever expected happened, and it brought him great joy because, like I said, his plan doesn't get enough respect for how multifaceted it is. I wouldn't say it's up there with Aizen, but it's definitely respectable, and he's one of the only villains in Shonen that accomplishes every single thing that he wanted to accomplish with his plan. Now, in the end, yes, he was probably a little disappointed that he knew all the yokai weren't going to come in and destroy the world of the living. But the fact that he was able to make it to Demon World and die in Demon World, not just of the disease he was dying from, but by the hands of a demon, that was Shinobu's ultimate dream. And in the entire time, he was manipulating the entire cast and all the psychics to come to that end goal: dying in Demon World. It wasn't so ultimately he could fight someone strong. Now, that was a caveat, but that wasn't the main reason. Like I said, Shinobu's plan was extremely multifaceted, and I find him to be one of the funnest characters in Shonen. Shinobu's actually also extremely revolutionary as far as a 90s or early 2000s villain goes. He really pushed the limits for what we knew as a villain and helped make a new blueprint for many more shonen antagonists going forward. It even pushed the limit with his whole, like, his different personalities. They did have love for Itsuki to the point where they were in a relationship. They had a bisexual relationship, and at least the female personality of Shinobu definitely loved Itsuki to the point where she would pour out to him at night. She would cry. She was very naive. It's another one of those aspects that makes Shinobu an extremely interesting character. Only 1% of people in the world deal with the disease that Shinobu deals with. You can call it schizophrenia, whatever you want to call it, but it's dissociative identity disorder. That's what we call it here in the States. And Shinobu dealing with that throughout the story, not dealing with that, but Shinobu's personalities concocting this plan and manipulating everyone throughout the entire Chapter Black saga is just a masterclass in writing, and I just love Shinobu as a character. Now, guys, I want to know down in the comments below, what do you think of Shinobu's plan? Do you think it was absolutely incredible, or do you think I'm giving it too much credit? Do you think Shinobu's as good of a villain as I'm making him out to be? I want to talk Shinobu in the comments below. I want to talk Yu Yu Hakusho. I want to answer to the question that I asked you guys in the beginning of the video. How do you think Team Shinobu and his psychics do in the Dark Tournament? This weekend, I want to discuss Yu Yu Hakusho. I think it'll be a blast. Now, for my long-time subscribers, guys, it has been so long since I put a video out, almost 20 days, and unfortunately, all the computer I use, all the equipment I use completely took a dump on me. I don't know exactly what happened. I'm still trying to figure it out, but every day I've tried to record this month, and I couldn't get it to work. Couldn't get the mic to work. I'm still can't get the mic to work very good. I had to go out and purchase a new computer, so all the Bleach What If stories that I had written, I lost every single one of those. So I was very worried that a lot of you were going to be like, Sterling, you're not doing videos anymore, like, time to leave this channel. But guys, that is not the case. because we are going to be making many more Bleach What Ifs. Anime Bar TV is going to be around for a long time, and I actually want to do more character deep dives like this one, but with different characters. Like, I really want to talk about Shinji from Bleach so bad. I want to talk about what he was thinking when he was exiled, how he had to lead a group of Vizard. I think it'd be so much fun to get into Shinji's head, the culture he knows, his style, the type of character he is. I love Shinji. Anyways, if that sounds like fun to you guys, definitely, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, then be on the lookout for that. And we're also going to be I'm going to be working on many more Bleach What Ifs to try to get back to where we were as far as all your guys' requests. But what I'm going to need from you is to tell me in any one of our videos, any one of our What Ifs, what you would like to see in a future What If story. Because, like I said, they were all written down on my computer, and I don't have any of those ideas anymore. And one of the main goals for this channel is bringing your guys' What If stories to life with obviously some of my touches, but most of the What If stories on this channel stem from ideas that you guys gave me. So I want to start collecting those back up because, like I said, Anime Bar TV is going to be here for a long time. We're going to continue to discuss our favorite series, Bleach, and we're going to sprinkle in more videos like this where we just appreciate certain characters from other stories that aren't Bleach. I think it's a ton of fun. And like I said, we are going to be breaking down Bleach characters such as Shinji, and I'd love to do Aizen, but I'm rambling on. I just wanted to tell you guys that no, I haven't quit. I'm still making videos. It's just I have dealt with a ton of problems technically in the last month, and I've gotten a new computer and I'm trying to get it going, but like I said, everything's not perfect. And as you can tell in the last bit of this recording, the audio completely took a dive on me. It sounds okay, but not up to par to what we were at. It usually sounds great, and it didn't for the last half of this video, so I apologize. Anyways, guys, I wanted to let all that be known because we have so many more fun videos coming out in the future, and we want you to be a part of them. So, guys, until the next video, it was so fun to talk with you guys. It was so fun to be back, and we're going to continue to be consistent going forward. I cannot wait until the next video, guys. This is Sterling signing out.